We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not observe must transform anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, not exactly this remarkable ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Well, hello, and welcome to Transition Radio TV live.
Exactly.
From the land of enchantment. Beautiful land of enchantment. Little rainy. No, it wasn't rainy.
It was windy.
Windy, yeah.
Yeah.
Silver City, New Mexico.
Yes. Beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Come on out.
Yes, come visit us. We're thinking about having probably several retreats, workshops, seminars, just talk about issues that are important, teach people how to eat right, work out,
working out.
Yeah, spirituality,
cool.
Sexual healing, just a lot of different things that
I want to join. Oh wait, I already joined.
You already are. It amazingly lost, you went from 190 to 164 pounds.
As of today.
As of 164 pounds.
I haven't weighed 164 pounds since I was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, it's amazing. I told you I would change your body.
You did, and I didn't doubt you.
Good.
When you told me in the gym.
Good.
Yeah. It takes hard work, obviously, and we have changed our eating habits.
Yes.
And, but you had an experience with raw food and everything that was very positive.
Yeah, and having a disability because you fractured 3 bones in your neck and you're still not completely healed.
No, I'm still kind of stiff.
I mean, we during the fast, which we're going to talk all about this on Wednesday. We decided Wednesday's health and nutrition, so we're really going to dive in about the fasting, the changes that happened, and getting you guys to maybe chat in the chat room and share your experience, those that had fasted with us, because there were over 15 people that actually fasted with us during the event.
Thank you for joining us on that.
Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, the body is an amazing tool, and it can easily be changed with nutrition, with spirituality, not religion. I consider myself a shaman, and I know a lot of people are going, yeah, haha, but I do. I've been having the gift since I was a young child. I work with crystals, I work with sage, I work with energy work, I work with all sorts of different things, holistically, body, mind, and spirit.
What in the world am I doing with you? When I first met you, I told you I was a Christian.
I know, and I said,
you said, oh, we're the same.
We're the same thing. The only difference is that I don't follow dogma, I don't follow a book, I follow my heart, because you know what? The great I am and everyone has a direct connection. Religion tries to be the middleman.
It does.
We got to eliminate the middleman.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, we have access to the great I am himself.
Exactly.
Herself.
Yes, because the great I am is both a he, she.
That's right.
Or she,
and that's why, like us being transgender, it's like being able to be almost angelic.
Very
in a way,
much so.
Very
much so.
I mean, not that I consider myself an angel. I do like the Angels, so
yeah, they're cool.
My baseball team.
They're very cool. I think more we're creator gods in the making, that we have forgotten certain things and we got brought down to this realm to remember.
And on Friday,
yes.
Well, not this Friday, but on Fridays is usually when we get to talk about that.
But this Friday we have a guest.
Yeah, we have a guest.
Lucas. He's an FTM hip hop artist, so we'll be having him on Friday.
What's an FTM?
Female to male, someone like me.
We have all kinds of abbreviations.
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, before we started, we want to thank our sponsors at breastformstore.com. They have everything that you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube. I like that name, Spunk Lube. They are award-winning, personal lubricant. No, it's not.
You need a better
Yeah,
cap
well,
on
it's
the
just because
bottle.
I can and went, and then the next morning I'm like,
They
oh,
should
why
do
is the
like-
loop so empty?
They should do like a pump, you know? Like,
I think no, they do have. They have
They
all
do?
sorts of different
Oh, okay.
stuff. Yeah, great stuff. And it's glycerin free. It's safe to use with any material. Safe with all the sex toys that you guys might want to use. Personally, I love the silicone one. They've got one that looks like semen.
Yeah.
We haven't opened that bottle up yet.
That's kind of gross to me. I like that silicone one, but I don't know that.
Well, maybe I
I
can
guess
pretend.
there's always something.
I could pretend or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
we're
we're
trying to keep
trans,
it PG.
so-
Yeah. But yeah, visit their website,
At spunklube.com.
enter the code TR, and you will receive a 10% discount.
And when you get a chance, please, if you think about it, donate to us at transitionradio.net.
Yeah, we bring you week after week 3 shows loaded with information. We try to share as much as we possibly can, and a lot of free advice I've been given throughout the years all over the world.
I mean, you were all over Facebook today giving
Yeah.
free advice.
Oh
People
yeah,
like, what can I do to change my body? Because
Yeah.
we posted pictures of
yeah,
me and stuff, and the changes that I've gone through in a short amount of time, and it's completely radicalized me and made me into the person that I am today.
definitely. So if you visit either of our Facebooks, or if you go on the blog Life Transition, actually I'll put all the links
Yeah.
on the final YouTube video here, or I'll try to see if I could edit stuff in and put pictures and stuff. But amazing results. I've been doing this since 1998. Had clients from all over the world, all sorts of conditions, and
28.
my body transformation system works. Anyway, since today is current events, we're going to have some current events for you. You guys wonder why the weather's been so weird this year? I know I have. I mean, it's like, when is this cold
Well,
weather going to end?
We've been talking about the fact that the governments of the world are messing with our weather patterns and everything in the system, all the chemtrails that
Trails,
we
yeah.
see, even here in Silver City.
Oh, yeah. And the
Little
HARP.
town.
There's a machine in Alaska called HARP, and
Right.
it works with frequency, something that Tesla invented. And they use it mostly as a weaponry,
Yeah.
and it could create earthquakes,
Well, you would think that,
tornadoes.
if they can control the weather, they can control,
Our food
countries.
supplies and everything,
Yeah.
creating droughts. Look at California,
Yeah.
droughts and all that stuff. It's crazy. Anywhere, we found this article called "Warming Pacific Makes for Increasingly Weird Ocean Life."
Like mermaids or something?
Like mermaids or God knows what else. The baby sea lions started washing ashore in high numbers in 2013. But the Pacific along the U.S. West Coast really got weird in 2014 when fishermen started catching ocean sunfish and warm water thresher sharks.
And Central American birds like brown This week, the number of starving sea lion pups stranded on Southern California beaches hit 2,460, roughly 20 times higher than the average 10 years.
Boobies. Oh, I did. I've never heard that fish before. Anyway, scientists now believe these changes are loosely connected to a giant swath of warm water sitting in the Pacific. The northern portion of that blob, in turn, has the same cause as the drought that continues to ravage California, a persistent ridge of high pressure in the atmosphere that has blocked storms and kept them from reaching the west coast.
And the flip side of that ridge is a low pressure trough over the central and eastern North America, aka the polar vortex that accounts for the crazy snows of last winter.
In other words, you go ahead, keep going.
A lot of weirdness is connected, but is it connected to global warming? Probably not. We think so. Or we think the government's messing.
Yeah.
Many experts believe, but it's not very clear.
Actually, I don't know so much of it's our government, but there's shadow governments and there's secret societies and there are elitists that really benefit from messing with us. us.
Hmm.
Every time they mess with us, they find a problem to then bring forth a solution. Oh, we're going to help you, and that's,
This one smells like that.
yeah, because I don't know. It's like, okay, is fish going to go skyrocket now? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, first it was BP. It was an accident.
California's drought and
Yeah.
the water supply.
Yeah, I mean, I love fish, but I really don't want to ever eat fish because there's a lot of pollutants
They're
in the
poison,
ocean. Yeah, and we're raw vegans, and Max.
Well, they're fake fish.
Yeah, there's a lot of great products out there, but we'll talk about that on Wednesday. Anyway, excuse me. The dramatic shift underway in the Eastern Pacific Ocean's food web, however, are baffling researchers and fisheries managers as they scramble to predict what might come next.
It's the oddest thing. It's just completely outside our experience, says Bill Peterson, an oceanographer with National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Northwest Fisheries Science Center in Newport, Oregon. When the present is nothing we've ever seen before, it's hard to know what the future will bring.
Puzzling, but birth of a blob. The strange warming of the eastern North Pacific appears to have been kicked off in the winter of 2013 or 2014 by the persistent high-pressure ridge. According to a new study by climate scientist Nick Bond of the University of Washington and his colleagues, the high pressure suppressed the storm and winds that normally cool the Gulf off Alaska.
The winds usually extract heat and evaporate water off the surface and mix and cool the upper ocean, says co-author Nate Mantua with NOAA's Southwest Fisheries Science Center.
That just didn't happen, which kept the heat from escaping the sea and allowed water temperatures to rise 5 degrees Fahrenheit or more above normal. Meanwhile, the lack of winter storms caused western snowpacks to dwindle. It's the oddest thing. It's just completely outside our experience.
Gee. Is someone messing with it?
I don't
Because
know.
it has never happened.
It's never happened.
That warm offshore blob in the Northeast Pacific since has merged with another patch of warm water further south and closer to shore, caused by persistently weak winds off California. Upwelling driven by stronger winds usually brings cold water and nutrients from the deep ocean to the sea surface.
The upshot is that most of the offshore Eastern Pacific Ocean is warmer than it has ever been.
Awesome news for surfers.
Yes, awesome. Kawabangwa, dude. And what we're seeing now is just not in the playbook, says Toby Garfield, Director of Environmental Research at NOAA's Southwest Center. This is a pattern we're not familiar with. We've never seen anything like it.
Wow. According to one theory, the drought in California and the extreme cold in the east in the past 2 winters are linked to climate change through the melting of the Arctic, which has supposedly caused the polar jet stream to become weaker and wavier and allowed extreme weather patterns to become more persistent.
But a recent study by Dennis Hartman of the University of Washington instead traces both the weird weather over North America and the warm blob in the Northeast Pacific to anomalously warm water in Western tropical Pacific and to an El Nino-like ocean atmosphere oscillation called the North Pacific Mode. We do not know for sure whether this is just part of the national variability of climate or whether climate change is favoring the weirdness, Hartman writes. Mantua and other researchers think the weirdness of the West Coast is most likely just an extreme example of natural variability.
Even the food web is shaking because of this. Whatever their ultimate cause, the changes in the Pacific Ocean and atmosphere have helped reduce the production of primary sources of food in waters off the West Coast. Changes in wind appear to have reduced tiny ocean plant life called phytoplankton along much of the West Coast to levels not seen in 18 years. What we're seeing now is just not in the playbook.
They're really repeating how
They
much.
do, that playbook. He must be a football player.
Something of that
former.
nature. Never seen this before. Anyway, meanwhile, Peterson, who has surveyed animal plankton off Oregon for decades, says the volume of larger, fattier, cold water copepods, a dietary staple for many birds and fish, has plummeted. Yet Peterson has spotted 17 species of tinier, less nutritious tropical copepod that he's never seen before in these waters.
The problem is the northern copepods are the ones that make you fat and happy, Garfield says, emphasizing with the fish. Empathizing. The southern ones are like chewing on a stalk of celery. I like celery.
We like celery. This fly that we have riding around must be problem too with the warm changes. We got a lot of flies lately. Anyway, the unusual warm water and the type of food it brings has helped create bizarre conditions. Last year, mostly tropical skipjack tuna was caught off Alaska Copper River, 200 miles north of the previous northernmost sighting.
Last month, a Tristram's storm petrel, a bird, a species native to Japan and Hawaii, was found dead in California's Farallon Islands, only the third sighting of this bird along the continental United States. And your favorite, a dozen brown boobies, also have been seen in the Farallons this spring, 4 times more than in any other year.
Brown boobies, yes. There have been more deadly consequences too. Some scientists believe that precipitous drop in Pacific krill and other hardy plankton species, pig or pepper, is what led to the largest seabird die in recent history. Thousands of juvenile caissons, auklets from California, I've never heard of these fishes, to British Columbia, washed up dead on western beaches between October and February.
Peterson also fears the lack of primary food will be catastrophic. Again, here's a
Terrorists,
to
fear,
the West
fear.
Coast salmon and steelhead, a possibility that won't be known for several months. The high temperatures and low water in the West Coast rivers from a lack of winter snow will only make things worse. I mean, this is just like, they're just like priming the pump, telling people, get ready for salmon to go through the roof.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like everything. It's like when gas, it's, if people don't realize that there is somebody just puppeteering and controlling everything in this world, and we're like so stupid and just like, okay, that's what's gonna happen,
Well, I mean, that's news, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to get to eat cheap salmon, but the bigger news is Barry Manilow.
Oh yes, very
He said, "I
nice.
do."
Can smile
To coming
without
out?
you. Yeah,
Maybe not.
maybe. Yeah. We saw
Looks
it.
like we made it.
Yeah.
That was the song my soppy, kind-hearted colleagues thought best suited your supposed wedding to Gary Keefe, your longtime partner and manager and president of the shoulder pad sounding Barry Manilow Productions. That was reported this week. We're happy for you, Mazel. If the story is true, every happiness to you both.
Well, I was surprised not to see Bruce Jenner today on the Inquirer and all the other.
I know,
that was
I
Barry
was
Manilow,
shocked.
yeah. But the song choice, screw that, for me, will always be Copacabana, and I hope that evening ended with the craziest dancing to that very same song, with people falling into mermaid ice sculptures, reenacting Lola's turbulent love life with wild gesticulations, and being spun off walls with feather boas to the best lyric ever written. Music and passion were always the fashion at the Copa. Don't fall in love. All right, don't quit our
I
date.
hope you both wore outrageously expensive suits. I hope you had special Botox and fillers. I hope your hair was big and tufty. It's tufty.
I've never heard of that.
Where
Fluffy,
did you have
hefty.
your list? Did you get a salad spinner? Life is so much better with a salad spinner.
What
What
don't
is a
you?
salad
It's
spinner?
something you spin on, but I don't know. I just cut everything up. Good old fashioned knife and cutting board. Barry Manilow just came out. One of my colleagues shouted on seeing the news, but you still haven't? Because if there's one doesn't do it, even when he supposedly just married his alleged longtime male partner.
Quote unquote alleged, quote unquote supposed, stupid words, ridiculous words actually, but use them we must. Barry, because like everything about your private life, nothing is really known for sure.
Hell, you could be married to a woman, farting on the couch, one hand absentmindedly on your crotch, the other alternating between shoveling out a bowl of Doritos or chugging down Bud Light in front of the big game. And hey, yes, you could be gay and doing exactly the same.
Love should liberate you from fear, Barry. Fear should not be the bedrock of your love. Everyone has always assumed you're gay. But what if you're just a naturally camp heterosexual, trapped now by your own predilection for midnight blue silk suits?
didn't I hear that they had to pump out a bunch of sperm out of his stomach? Or no, wait, that was Rod Stewart. Never mind. What the hell do we know? Because Barry, you're beyond gay, beyond outing, beyond classification. Your closet door seems to be swinging open. Now, almost off its hinges, groaning with absurdity, and people are passing by and gawping. Yes, gawping as they did this week, and you just stand there smiling in that can't really move my face way of yours. That's what happens with everybody who gets all this plastic surgery.
It might be down to whatever you've had done to your face, the effect of steroids you insist, but handily, whatever it is, it comes across as mysterious, like a smirk against a prying world.
But there have been no ringing denials of reports of your marriage to Keith. Barry and Gary love that. So proceeding on the basis that it is true, we must also assume that somehow maximizing on the general fabulousness of your wedding ceremony, Suzanne Summers was indeed a reported your best man. Genius, Barry. Susan Summers should be every gay wedding's best man.
According to this so far undenied and uncontested report by the National Enquirer, which is like the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, of course.
You married last April. It was at your Palm Springs mansion, and you invited 50 guests who had no idea they were coming to your wedding. Dramatic. Nice one, BM.
Barry has lived a very secretive life, and the wedding was not different. Barry and Gary did not tell friends or family that the occasion was their wedding. An insider told the Inquirer it was a beautiful wedding and consummated their lifelong love affair.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. Gary reportedly left his wife and their child to be with you some time ago. It's a beautiful love affair that has lasted more than 30 years, a source told the Inquirer, which, if true, must have been someone very close to this happy couple.
But then, Barry, there was that thorn in the rose. The happy duo did not file the paperwork to formalize their union out of fear the big news would leak, sources told the magazine. Barry is paranoid that his fans would not approve of him being gay, when in reality, many have suspected it for years.
Decades.
Oh, and most wouldn't care. They would be happy for him, actually.
Well, what's his name? Don't let the sun go down on me. What's his name?
Elton John?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gay as a doorknob. He don't care.
If this is true, Barry, the bubbles in my champagne flute just went flat, and my happy smile mutated into a grimace. So, you're too frightened to be open about your sexuality because you're worried your fans will reject you, and you didn't actually fully, legally, properly marry your longtime love because fear again stopped you from filling paperwork that in some desk drawer somewhere you imagine ticking away like a time bomb waiting to explode and shatter your world and expose you for the gay man that you know that you are.
Barry, allow me as softly but empathetically as possible to slap you around the face with a wet fish. Everyone assumes you are gay.
Your fans, many of them older, have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
For that matter.
Mandy, that song came out in the 70s.
Oh my God, yeah.
Loved ones, and most definitely hairdressers giving them blue rinses who are most definitely gay.
They would not be shocked that you are gay. They would say like, we already knew. So what? Be happy. Then they'd go back to their Mahjong game or whatever. Mahjong game? What kind of game is that?
I don't know.
Okay, anyone younger
Monopoly
anyone younger than that would treat the news of your homosexuality with barely a shrug. Most people this week have said, "Puzzle, isn't he out already?"
I thought he was.
I thought he was too.
But okay, you're 71. You are from a different era. You may believe in discretion and privacy, that your personal life is your business and no one else's. But you are also a celebrity, so people are going to be interested.
As I wrote in a similar open letter to John Travolta last year, today we saw in another inquiry that John Travolta and Tom Cruise are dating. They're dating, or seeing each other behind in some sort of.
I don't know. Yeah. But I thought maybe Tom Cruise was.
Yeah, I think they've always talked about John Travolta
And Vinnie Barbarino.
Yeah, exactly, being gay. So now everybody's saying, heck with it. They're all coming out. Isn't that the silence you practice more exhausting and dispiriting than just saying the words?
What saddened me most this week was that people treated your wedding as a joke, another extension of the absurdity of you quelling mention of your sexual orientation. It's one thing to desire privacy, and quite another to become a figure of fun.
Look, Ellen came out. What is it? That basketball player came out. Everyone's coming out. Was it that Ben Diesel? Who's more Diesel than Ben Diesel? And could,
He's
worried. Yeah, he's gay. You didn't know
No,
Ben
what
Diesel?
is he?
Yeah, Ben Diesel's gay.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
I know. Very gay. And he
Ben
looks
Diesel.
like really Diesel and very, worried
Yeah.
about being typecast.
Macho man.
Yeah, but, you are who you are. You love
Gay
who
men
you
are
love.
macho too.
Of course, not all gay men go, hi.
No, they have this preconception that gay men are so effeminate.
No,
But
there's bears and there's
Yeah.
hunky, gays come in all shapes and colors, types and everything else. Anyway, if it's true you're married, the love of your life, now is not the time to skulk around in the shadows. You guys should be burning up red carpets, flashing your expensive veneers for the cameras at every opportunity.
if this is the love of your life, if you loved each other enough to marry each other, fear, the old school fear of prejudice and rejection, should not be stopping you from formally registering your relationship.
That's crazy. Get married and I'm going to hold on to this piece of paper.
I'm
We're going to register
definitely gonna
hard.
register.
right away. I mean,
Yeah.
and if, hey, red carpets, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
that sounds really good.
We don't have any ears. Our teeth are real.
No, there we go.
Nice and parley.
Yeah.
Fear of being found out, Barry. The world has moved on. Whatever airless closet you imposed upon yourself years ago is not fit for purpose today. It is sophisticating, it's suffocating you, and it's not sophisticated. No individual and no relationship has to exist in such a deathly casket today.
Love should liberate you from fear, Barry. Fear should not be the bedrock of your love. Have you ever heard of Harvey Milk? Read up or see the movie starring Sean Penn. If not, but the man was a true hero and inspiration.
Milk was assassinated in 1978. Was a courageous San Francisco politician who stood up and fought for gay equality when few others did. He paid for it with his life. He was killed by a man consumed by prejudice and hatred. I think they had him killed. Another conspiracy. Like they killed, it's like anybody who's trying to create freedom, education, get people to love each other and understand each other gets assassinated.
Sad.
It is sad.
Well, Barry, listen to Harvey Milk on Coming Out. His words of nearly 40 years ago ring just as true today as they did then. Coming out not only liberates you, it helps you to liberate others.
I'm coming out. I want
Oh,
the
yeah,
world to
Don-
know.
Oh, yeah, Diana Ross.
Yes, it can be tough at the outset, but its trickle-down effect is marvelous and moving. And you are famous, so that trickle-down effect will be even greater. And you will not be rejected. Your fans will still love you.
We'll
Most
love
of them.
them.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
The world will not cave in. The skies will not open up, and the Lord won't say, Mary Manilow, thou should not sleep with mankind as he does with womankind or something
Right.
stupid in Leviticus. Anyway, all the old ladies who would
Al, the old lady.
all the old ladies, that came out weird, who you imagine turning their heads and rendering apart their sensible coats will just shrug and carry on enjoying your music.
And we like it too.
Yes,
and
we
we
do.
almost got that.
I almost caught it. I want to do what the president did. He did that on television. He
Did
caught
he?
a fly. Yes.
That is impressive.
Yes, that was.
The leader of the free world just catches a fly.
Yes, I guess.
Well, talking about, the gay issue, obviously, Barry has his own motives for doing what he does, and he has the right to his own privacy
Well,
of his life.
Ellen was quiet for the longest time. And when she,
So,
the wrath of hell came upon her.
Well,
And
yeah, but
luckily things changed around.
it's because of the conservatives
Yeah.
that were just drilling her. Conservatives have a way of drilling everyone down. It doesn't matter if you're one of them, if you're not one of them, if you came from, what background. It's just, you're open season if you don't believe the way they do.
What I always wonder is who died and made them boss? God does not speak through Christians, through evangelicals, through Baptists, through all these crazy-minded individuals. Okay,
Well,
it's not their job to judge.
I mean, just the other day, there was this article that I saw, a YouTube video
Mhm.
of a pastor, quote unquote, of a Baptist church in like Tempe, Arizona. And he's advocating out of Leviticus, talking about, how to get rid of the gay problem. And it sounded just like Hitler would have advocated to get rid of the Jewish problem in Germany back in the 1940s. He said just to eliminate them from his church pulpit.
Yeah, and they were laughing, and it's like people think the
People
Nazis
homos
have
and-
died. The Nazis are still very much alive, and there are the conservative, and they're into the religious.
Well, the conservative religious did nothing during the reign of the Nazis. I mean, they stood by and they didn't do a thing. They let the Germans destroy and exterminate the Polish people and
Yep.
the homosexual people as well, and the Jews.
Prescott Bush, which was President Bush's
Sent
great
money, right?
grandfather, was in
Financed.
cahoots with Hitler, and so was the Pope at the
Yeah, we
time.
saw
We
that
saw a
picture of
picture
them
of
shaking
shaking
hands.
hands. Yeah, crazy stuff. Anyway, what's more crazy stuff is that there's a trans man. Imagine, if I was told that I had to wear a dress. Well, my gender marker's changed to male, but
Yeah.
this particular trans guy, his is not.
Well,
And-
it was in Louisiana of all places.
Louisiana,
So
crazy.
it's very, very much a conservative, kind of driven Catholic
Yeah.
society.
Well, they're everywhere, though. These conservatives, they're everywhere, and
But in the South, it's like the buckle of the Bible belt.
Yeah. they need to be jailed. These people that are creating the violence towards anyone in the LGBT community with their bigotry should be put in jail for allowing or creating violence towards people
It's
like us.
unbelievable that this company would fire somebody because they wouldn't, who identifies as a male,
Man.
that they would be told that they couldn't work with them if they didn't follow the dress code. Well,
But who's
trans
suing
man
them?
sues the employer after being told his gender identity is not in compliance.
Well, when Tristan Brazier was hired at Tower Loan at $15 an hour, and that's all they were paying him in March 2013, he drove to Houston to buy a new suit. He told his girlfriend she could quit her job if she wanted to and take care of their pets at home.
But a week after he started at the financial chain's Lake Charles, Louisiana location, Broussard was fired, according to a lawsuit filed Monday. Broussard claims that he was terminated after the company's vice president told him he would have to follow the female dress code. If you saw this guy's picture, it's like he's got facial hair, looks like a young guy, it'd be ridiculous to ask him to wear a dress.
We'll also add that link so they could actually take a look later. Well, Broussard, whatever, had previously explained to his direct manager that he was transgender after she asked him why his driver's license listed his sex as female. That's why everyone needs to change their gender marker.
If you can, and
Yes.
if you can't change it in your state,
Move.
very much consider moving.
Yes. She told there's tons of states that change it very easily.
Oh yeah,
Come to New
Even-
Mexico.
but even Tennessee changed mine really easily.
Florida, which is as Republican as can be, changed mine. She told, and I changed mine in 2003 when there was
Yeah.
hard. I mean, it was hard for me to do it.
Right.
I had to threaten with attorneys and the whole 9 yards.
Mine was after like just presenting my doctor's note
Mhm.
from my hormone doctor,
Yeah.
and they recognize it. But the funny thing is, they do it all by the book, right?
Right.
These government agencies are so clueless sometimes.
Mm.
They didn't change my name because I needed to have my name changed,
Right.
but they did change my gender marker. So it was really odd
Yeah.
having a male name
Well,
and having a female.
yeah, but that's what happens a lot of the time, and then because you have to go to the court and get your
Mhm.
name changed, and then
Yeah.
once you prove that you've had, I
Yeah,
mean,
you can go
you're
back with the court
it's
order.
crazy. But anyway, who cares about gender? We should just eliminate gender and its person.
Yeah.
She told Broussard that he wouldn't be judged and had nothing to worry about, Broussard said. But just days later, Broussard claims he found himself in a meeting with the company's vice president, David Morgan, being told that the corporate office had to draw a line and that Broussard would have to sign an agreement that his gender identity wasn't in compliance with Tower Loan's personal policies or leave the company. What? Oh, go ahead.
That is ridiculous
I
to
know.
say that he would have to sign this policy. You know, it's like, why would someone demand that?
Yeah.
You know,
It's like me having to wear female clothes.
I
This guy
can't
had a
imagine.
beard. He looked like a guy.
yeah,
He sounded like a guy. He
I
probably
know.
smelled like a guy.
right.
And had to wear a dress.
I told him, he says, I can't. I'm going to have to turn in my keys. On Monday, the Southern Poverty Law Center and National Center for Lesbian Rights filed a lawsuit on Broussard's behalf, along with a San Francisco-based law firm and a New Orleans-based firm. The complaint cites Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, and which, since 2012, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has interpreted to apply to anti-transgender discrimination. In the past year, both the EEOC and Justice Department have filed lawsuits against businesses or governmental entities alleging Title VII violations based on anti-transgender discrimination. That is something that I'm very familiar with because I have my own discrimination lawsuit filed against Lifeway Christian Resources in Nashville for terminating me as a worker, and under Title VII, I am claiming the same thing that he is.
Yeah, it's
And
bizarre.
it's disgusting.
It's 2015. Self-expression should be something that everyone should be allowed. Whether you're genderqueer and you enjoy being a man, wearing a wig, or whatever it is that you want, it should be your prerogative.
Well, and the thing is that the church really needs to get a grip, and it needs to take this issue and do something about it instead of knocking people senseless over it.
Browbeating people with it, all over gender. That is all the basis of religion, gender.
I mean, I was working with this company, and I was their prime person for doing this specific type of job. And I was there for almost 20 years
That's crazy.
doing it. And I was always recommended, wanted, used. You know, I mean, I was there for the long haul. And they terminated me when they found out that I was transitioning. And it's wrong. And, you know, people that do this need to be stopped, you know, because religion has no right to discriminate.
You can believe all you want. You can believe in fairy tales, all you want. But when you are damaging other people's livelihood and life, and people committing suicide because of the atrocity that you put out there, all in the name of God, a God that you haven't seen. All you know is what you read in this book, that God knows how many misinformation is in there. It's been translated. Kings have like killed people so they could write what they want in there.
Oh, and they justify things because they say it's in the Bible, and it's not, because if they look back, I mean, for instance, the word homosexual
It's not even in the Bible.
wasn't even in the Bible until someone put it in there in the 20th century.
And thou shalt not sleep with mankind as one sleeps with womankind. The actual translation is thou shalt not sleep with animal in the fields.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, but King James had a homosexual son, and he hated that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what it was. A bunch of these homophobes that have made homosexuality their main, campaign focus. God hates homosexuals.
I mean, Jesus himself, who a lot of people respect and, honor, he never even spoke about the issue of homosexuality.
Never
Never said.
He was,
and he was in a Greek world, a
he was
Roman world.
They actually said he looked like he had a child's face, and it was very androgynous type looking, very,
I'm sure he was angelic.
Yeah. In Leviticus, really? Laws written for the Jews and not the Gentiles. That's all you people could poke up at the Leviticus.
And the shellfish.
Yeah, everyone
is
eats
something you shouldn't
shellfish,
eat.
and they mix
Mixed
cloths, and I mean, and just by gossiping and just by judging, you are breaking Leviticus laws as well.
Yeah. So
It takes one person at a time to step up and say this isn't right. Damn. Now, 21 young FTM said in an interview with BuzzFeed News Monday morning, it doesn't matter how you dressed and presenting yourself. That has nothing to do with your work.
it's ridiculous.
I know.
According to the lawsuit, after Broussard declined to sign the agreement, Morgan told him, the owner, the vice president,
Probably.
that if he had some surgeries and we can see some results, then Tower Alone may consider hiring him again.
That's just wrong. They're trying to put people in the male box and the female box, and they're trying to force people to have surgeries. No wonder we have so many young transgender people committing suicide.
What right does a person have to telling someone to have surgery?
Tank, what matters what you have in between your legs?
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Totally
to
ridiculous. Anyway, Brazard told BuzzFeed News he got emotional when Morgan presented the dress code to him. It took him back to his senior year of high school when he was told he had to wear a white dress for his Catholic confirmation. Brazard also recounted the story in a video that SPLC released on Monday. By then, Brazard had come out as gay in his small town, but could not begin to transition until he was 18, when he would no longer need parental consent for hormone therapy. But Brazard said he had never faced discrimination in the workplace until Tower Loan. He left the job he held before Tower Loan only because there were no opportunities for a promotion.
After he was fired, Broussard was unemployed for a month, he said, then took the first job he could get, delivery driver for Papa John's Pizza, where he stayed for 6 months. It was a rough time, he said.
Later that year, August 2013, the National Center of Lesbian Rights and Broussard New Orleans-based law firm filed a charge of discrimination with the EEOC, Equal Opportunity something or another. More than a year later, the EEOC determined that Broussard had been subjected to discrimination. The commission invited both Broussard and Tower Loan to find a resolution, but in January of 2015, informed Broussard's attorney that it wasn't able to reach a settlement. The EEOC declined to sue, though prompting Broussard to file his own lawsuit. Broussard is seeking a declaratory judgment from a federal court that Tower Loan broke the law, as well as back pay and compensation for legal fees.
We have a young man who is finally able to get a job that held so much promise for him to have financial security, and the employer turns around and fires him, said Sam Wolf, a staff attorney at the Southern Poverty Law Center. And we know this type of discrimination is terribly widespread. Hopefully, Broussard added, we can figure out the law and stop things like this from happening.
That's crazy. That's just
Wow.
the things we as transgender individuals, have to really go through.
I mean, stuff we have to deal with,
I got laid off from my occupational therapy job, and I know a lot had to do with a lot of people could not deal. I mean, I couldn't talk about my life. They could talk about all their stuff, and every time I would say something, I would get reprimanded and get the supervisor telling me, you don't really share your stuff. So I'm like, so the lesbian working there could share about her lesbian lover, but I can't share about, and it's just, I could see that, it was just leading to problems, and eventually I got laid off. So I lost some contracts. I couldn't prove that it was discrimination. So
sad.
There you go.
I mean, I was a independent contractor, so at the time, so basically I was being used as a part-time, full-time employee, but I wasn't officially signed on as one of their employees. So they may have that little loophole that they may be able to get.
Yeah, they have great attorneys, these people. They get away with murder, and it's just wrong. I highly recommend for trans people to create their own jobs. They're very bright, smart, talented people. I mean, that's what, since I got laid off, I've not gone back to the work field. I tried waiter job, and it just did not work for me either. We're smart, we're intelligent, entrepreneurs who need to create our own jobs. And those of you that are transgender out there that have the ability to maybe hire people, create jobs for other trans people, we should, instead of fighting about words and gender expression and who's the most tranny of all and all this stuff that we do constantly, argue with one another, we should unite and put our heads together and do something positive for the community, so we don't have to be homeless, without a job, without health care, with all these things that we face daily.
Well, the Christian right is just constantly on this warpath.
Oh yeah.
And they think it's their right, to eliminate gay marriage. It's their right to eliminate, trans, even from the dictionary. I mean, there's this one Christian conservative group. They're called the Family Research Council, and they're headed by a guy named Tony Perkins, who I'm very familiar with because that was my former circle of conservatism that I used to run with. And he wants to start fasting to stop gay marriage. And the funny thing is that he wants to start like on April 7th, which was last week.
Right.
We started our fast
That same week on Friday.
on
the 10th.
Friday. So we were, what?
We were fasting with them. Wow,
Wow.
look at
That's
that.
amazing.
Who knew?
Well, if you're a follower of Tony Perkins and the Family Research Council, and probably, James Dobson and Focus on the Family too, it's time to binge on those last few Twinkies.
Worst
Twinkies are
thing
back?
to do. That's the word. You can't binge before you fast.
Twinkies are
You have
back.
to mellow out your eating
I thought
habits.
they got rid of Twinkies.
They're very bad for you.
Oh yeah.
But wrong advice. Binge on Twinkies before you fast. That's a way to kill you before you fast. Send your body in shock mode.
Well, Tuesday, April 7th is the first day of a 3-week fast for the social conservative leader. And he's called that so that God, quote, will intervene to guide our Supreme Court to protect, not destroy natural marriage as the legal standard for our nation, unquote. It ends on April 28th, the day the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in 2 same-sex marriage cases.
You know, if God had nothing else better to do, then, so by them fasting, God is going to go, I'll wave my magic wand and I'll make the Supreme Court. It's like the things Christians think about.
Well, they go by the First Chronicles 7:14, which says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land or whatever.
Okay,
That's
well,
what they use to probably spearhead this whole thing.
we'll see how well it's going to work. That's all I can say.
Wow.
It's okay. On first blush, this sounds great to me. If fasting is an what's that word?
Efficacious.
Efficacious method, I've never heard of that word before, a method to sway the opinion of the Almighty, then the Christian right deserves to win. And if not, then they deserve to tire themselves out so they can't argue, march, picket, and yell quite as loudly. May the best worldview win.
On closer inspection,
They'll lose a lot of weight. I'm sorry.
the fast is part of an increasing trend among American evangelicals who are quickly catching up to Orthodox Jews, Roman Catholics, Eastern Orthodox Christians, and Muslims, all of whom have fasted for religious reasons for centuries.
One God and all these religions. I've never understood that. That's another puzzling thing of mine when I was a kid. Why is there so many religions? I would ask my grandma. There's one God. Can they all make up their mind and just, unite? But no. Well, back in 1998, Pat Robertson, the good old Patty, and other evangelical leaders called for a 40-day fast to bring about a third spiritual
You
revival.
can understand the kind of fast that they're calling for is not to watch TV or eat, dinner.
Right.
I mean, they're
not
not
going to
going-
water fast.
No,
I didn't think so. They're not going to do what we did, which
No,
was roughing it
for
for
3
3 days. And you lost 13 pounds, I lost 14 pounds.
yeah.
Reveling the great awakenings of the 1730s and 1800s. Interestingly, official Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul recently called for the same thing last week. They're going crazy.
Yeah, well, back in the 1700s or whatever, there was this preacher who used to go all around the colonies, and he had one message that he was sharing, and people were fearing the gates of hell because it was called sinners in the hands of an angry God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were scaring people into salvation.
Well, that's all religion does.
That's what this is doing. It's scaring people to think.
It's going to backfire.
I hope it does.
It's going to backfire and it's going to hit them in the ass or in the face or something.
Bill Bright of Cru, formerly Campus Crusade for Christ, joined that call and has called fasting a spiritual atomic bomb in a popular online brochure. Liberty University's Elmer Towns has authored a half-dozen books on the subject, promoting the idea that fasting leads to spiritual breakthrough, miracles, and the like.
I think what fasting does is help heal you and allows you to become more in tune with your higher self. Anyway, it should be noted that the term fasting covers a lot of ground, from total abstination from food and drink to relinquishment only of certain foods, like during Lent. It could even mean simply abstaining at certain times. Religious Muslims, for example, fast during the day of Ramadan, but eat copiously during the nights. That's
One
not
of-
fasting.
I know. So one of the questions associated with fasting is exactly what it accomplishes. Is fasting believed to be like magic, or perhaps more respectfully, like a fervent prayer that moves God to respond? Or is it instead purely a spiritual practice, good for inspiration, grief, hope, but not necessarily precipitation?
So she got up in the heavens going, they're starving themselves. Oh, maybe I'll help them out. Or, no. Anyway, this debate goes all the way back to the Bible. Conservatives may not be able to persuade the movable middle anymore, but they can persuade the Almighty.
On the one hand, as Perkins noted, Queen Esther called on the Jews of Babylon to fast for 3 days. And as a result, the Jewish people were saved, have survived to this day, and now have a reestablished nation of their own. Nice Elysian, I don't know that word.
Elysian.
2,400 years of history, by the way. Fasts are proclaimed 10 times in the Bible, often by kings and other rulers.
Well, isn't that kind of asking God to have your favorite football team win? Oh, we don't want the sanction of marriage to be destroyed. Like, they don't have any right to have legal rights and be happy. Only us heterosexual people do.
Yeah, because we're an abomination.
Yeah, you think God is going to listen to that? I mean, it's probably going to backfire. On the other hand, different biblical texts scorn the idea that fasting is some kind of magical practice. Isaiah 58:5-6, another quoted verse, has God asking rhetorically, is this the kind of fast I have chosen? Only a day for people to humble themselves? Is it only for bowing one's head like a need for lying and sackcloth and ashes? Is that what you call a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? Behold, this is the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of the injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. And they're oppressing us.
I know. Their own Bible tells them not to. Fasting isn't just for politically glad-handing justices. It may be used for mourning, for introspection, even for repentance. But even for Isaiah, fasting to affect the divine without behavior change is preposterous.
Of course, the two are related, since, as one Christian blog observes, it's our own sin that has provoked God's wrath. So fasting in itself, abnegation, is humility, it's repentance, and repentance appeases the divine.
Fasting may also be gaining popularity as more earthly methods of political action appear to be failing. As Christian conservatives lose the culture war, they are turning to help from above. And yet, at the same time, fasting is, on its face, about values like submission and humility. It's also an assertion of power. In this regard, fasting is not like anorexia, which is often a desperate bid for control. Conservatives may not be able to persuade the movable middle anymore, but they can persuade the Almighty.
I think not. These trends recur throughout the history of religion. Religious groups enter the mundane world and depart from it, and projecting one's power into supernal realms is a sure sign of the latter. It's not coincidence that the apparent increase in fasting among evangelicals, we still lack reliable data on the precise upswing, is accompanied by a strong belief in the impending apocalypse. The end of the world is nigh. Now it's time to fast and repent.
Oh gosh, that reminds me. There's this pastor in San Antonio, Texas, and his name is John Hagee. Last week, he came out with this thing about the blood red moon. We had.
Oh, yes.
And he was saying, "Oh, it's the end of the world. God's coming."
They've been saying that forever.
I as a kid was freaked out by that kind of mentality and thought. I thought that God was coming like right now.
Right.
Well, and that if I was caught stealing cookie from the cookie jar, I was going to go to hell.
These people traumatized children. These people, like I said, that should be jailed. They were prosecuted back in the day, and they should start doing the same thing, because they are really destroying the world, and they're hurting people.
There's no love in there.
There's no love. I don't know what Jesus they're following. They're definitely not following the Jesus you and I believe in.
And because of its physiological effects, fasting also acts like a drug on the mind of the believer. Sensory input changes, insights pop, and the mind starts to feel it does on psychedelics or extended meditation. Fasting is popular in the New Age world as well. This is why it has been practiced for millennia by spiritual seekers.
Yes. As part of that hallucinatory experience, we didn't hallucinate.
No.
We were hungry as heck and a little dizzy, but we didn't hallucinate. People fasting for extended periods can have a sense that they are actually accomplishing something, just like a stoner feels like he can float through those potato chips across the room through the telepathy. You may not actually get those chips or influence the Supreme Court, but it sure can feel like it.
All of these trends converge in modern evangelical fasting. The intense personal spirituality, the sense of material disgust, the desperate hope that one might somehow influence the divine to save a fallen world. It's a simple act, not eating, and easy to ridicule as a political strategy. But beneath the surface lie all the hope, terror, and despair of the contemporary Christian right.
Couldn't they take all that energy that they're putting into all this and do something positive?
You would think.
I think God would be a lot
Instead-
more, appreciative if they did positive things. There's a lot of things that they could do to help the world and people.
Instead, they point their
Yeah.
bony finger out at people.
Well,
and
so
say,
that
"You
way
can't do this."
they're not doing this. It's easier to show when somebody has a problem, and that way you don't have to look at your miserable
Well,
life.
I mean, that's the thing. That pastor in Tempe, Arizona,
Mhm.
is probably a closet.
Pretty hard.
No, I'm living proof.
Yeah, when you were
Yeah, I was
in the
hiding.
trenches, you were
I was
hiding,
hiding. Yeah,
and you were the biggest homophobe ever.
absolutely.
So that just
And
proves
it's
the
wrong.
point. It's wrong.
It's wrong.
Don't fight. God's gonna love you no matter what.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He loves us all unconditionally. All about.
God is an unconditionally loving God. He is not like you.
Right. And all that stuff you guys read in the Bible is actually not even prime creator, the great I am, the primal, real, true God is not even written about in the Bible.
No, he's not. Because, I mean, the God that is in the Bible these days is a God that is like a little g,
Yeah.
you know.
And there's not just one, there's several. The Elohims, and they're like the ones that came to this planet and mess with the great I am's creation and
Right.
just change our DNA. Why do you think we have so much junk DNA? If you look at the Bible, there's so much inconsistency. Adam and Eve, really? If we all came from Adam and Eve, and I don't want to hear the story, the weather condition changed. You're going to tell me the weather condition made a white person with blue eyes into a black person with a smushed nose, big lips, or a Japanese woman or a Chinese person with their eyes all slanted? We are a byproduct of alien experiment. This is a planet of quarantine.
And we have been dumbed down.
Dumbed down, put to sleep. Our DNA is messed with. Go replenish the earth. Time and time again, we've been
Why would
dumbed
he
down.
say replenish? Right?
Because
It's not
we would get
Go
smart,
fill it up. He said, redo.
redo it. And there's just a lot of hidden stuff in the Bible. If you guys really studied it and looked deep within, there's something fishy going on.
there's
Something
not,
bad.
the whole story has not been told.
Not at all. Not
And
at all.
we have much, much more information to share about that, including, these scriptures that they found, these scrolls that they found that have so much more information that the church at the time, when they put the 66 books into the Holy Bible,
Mhm.
they didn't want them to know about it.
Oh yeah, it's all based on fairy tales, little kid stories. I mean, if you just read it, and it makes absolutely no sense. All you have to do is have an open mind, remove the veil. If I get another Christian, with different videos, just spewing all these biblical scriptures on me, and it's like I've had a video which has been very popular on YouTube with National Geographic, or me and my ex were on it. Oh, you homosexual!
First of all, you guys were both okay.
Yeah, we were
way.
either way. Like you and I are okay either way. Either way you slice it. I was born a female. You were born a guy. We got. You guys always did the swisheroo. Still okay. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just pathetic.
I mean, the thing is that if their belief system is built on the binary gender, if it falls,
Oh,
It's problems.
Yeah, everything would fall.
For
They're
them.
based on just marginal stuff that could just like very easily, like a straw house, fall apart. But people and their fear, their guilt, because it's been programmed, deeply programmed.
I know
Yeah.
it has.
And people
I mean,
need
you know it
to
has.
unprogram themselves and realize that there's something bigger. Your real God, the God that cannot be put in a box, cannot be put in a book, is nothing like the Bible
Mm-mm.
says. Those are fake imposters, angry, devilish, selfish, jealous, because they hate the prime creator. They want what she has.
Let's
And
not
they've
say
destroyed
though
that.
that nobody's saying that God doesn't exist.
Oh, God
because
does exist.
we
That's what I
believe in
said.
it.
The prime
And
creator.
the-
Yeah.
The great I am existing.
Yeah.
I mean, Moses had an encounter with what was called the great I am.
Right.
So the prime creator does exist.
I never said he didn't. I said,
Right.
yeah.
But I think people might think that,
No, it's just
we
the
don't
gods
believe
of the
God, so we
Bible.
don't
No,
believe
no,
God.
we're not atheists by all means, but God cannot be put in a box. How dare we think that we could even know this higher power?
When we have a galaxy and
Yeah.
space itself with billions and billions of planets and systems and suns and stars, and I mean,
It's just bigger than life. We have no way of putting it all in a little bestseller. Here. It's like, no, not at all. Anyway, I think we rambled long enough. I don't know how long we've been rambling for, because
for a while.
For a while there. All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for Wednesday.
Yeah, health and nutrition.
Yes.
We'll talk more about our fast.
Yes.
Talk about more about the weight loss, and maybe we'll weigh ourselves tomorrow and see, even if we're losing weight,
No,
just
and
eating
today,
food.
yeah, we eaten basically all fruits, just melons and bananas. We had a smoothie,
So good.
mango banana smoothie.
You made that smoothie out of like kefir?
Kefir. So we can talk about kefir on
So
Wednesday. And I mean, just, you don't have to be fat, sick, and unhappy. You could literally be happy,
You know.
energetic. I mean, I don't know about you, but I noticed there's so much energy
Oh,
after,
yeah.
like during
After
the
the
fast,
fast?
I was dying during the fast. I was like, if I lose
Yeah.
another pound, I think I'm going to die. But as soon as we put in, what did we break the fast with? On
Oranges
at 6:00 yesterday, and orange juice with
Yeah.
honey, apple cider vinegar to get our digestive juices going. And still felt a little, and then we had
Some grapes.
We had a whole bag of 2 pounds,
2 pounds of
a pound
grapes.
each. It was like, okay, fill her up again. And that's not the right way of fasting, especially
No.
long fast. But no, we didn't. We did it like slowly. We first had the oranges and the orange juice, waited a couple hours, and then we had the grapes. Then, had a couple of bananas. And then this morning we had the watermelon, lettuce.
But, I think now food is something that I respect.
Oh, yeah.
Way more
Yes.
than I ever did before. I just took food for granted. I just thought food was there for my consumption. I can eat anything that I want at the grocery store
Yeah.
at any time.
Yeah. And you
And it's
can't.
not-
This is not some sort of garbage
Entertainment.
disposal.
It's not entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be something that you get addicted to.
Exactly. It's meant to fuel your body, to give you health, to allow your cells to replenish.
medicine.
It is.
Food
Let thy
is
food
medicine.
be thy medicine. Like Hippocrates. What's the name? Hippocracy or something like that. A doctor back in the day who.
The Hippocratic Oath.
Oh, there you go. But doctors nowadays, they don't know diddly about nutrition. They poison us with their pharmaceuticals, the fitness industries. Oh my God, that lie. Lose weight, blah, 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 with this little pill.
Yeah.
Starve yourself. You have to eat food. Food is good, but you have to eat the right kind of food. Lots of it.
I mean, I posted that burger picture of the In-N-Out burger that I had like 2 years ago or something, and fries. And, people were commenting and saying, oh, it's so wonderful. And I just now, it doesn't even look.
It doesn't even look
tasty.
like food.
I mean, if a burger sat for more than 15 minutes on a counter, it'd be gross to eat.
Yeah, we're not.
But if an orange sits on the counter for 15 minutes, it's still good.
Yeah.
Even if it's peeled and
Yeah,
sitting there. Bugs will start eating it.
Yeah.
They'll leave the burger alone.
Oh, no, but the meat is not meant for our consumption. And there's this big argument we had today in Facebook regarding that we're omnivores and herbivores and we're meant to eat. No.
Did you see the teeth of the
I mean, come on.
chimpanzee?
Right.
That picture
Yeah.
that you had? Someone was saying that a
Big ol'
chimpanzee eats meat.
Yeah.
And we found out it only eats like
2% of its
diet.
caloric. Yeah, yeah.
And it's got these huge canines in the front of it.
If you guys didn't have a grocery store and butcher to have your meat nicely all cut up and done for you, and without
And
a gun,
and
without a
cooked
gun,
as
without
well.
anything, you would have a hard time biting off through the hide of that animal that you'd have to kill with your long fangs and whatever. It's
But
just
have you ever seen a bear cooking?
no. Oh, yeah, and no animal cooks their food.
They don't cook their food.
They have their guts they produce a source of vitamin C, which helps break down that meat. We don't have that.
Yeah.
We get that thing sits in your gut forever. You guys, that's why so many people die of colon cancer, as your father did. He ate a lot of red meat.
Yeah, you couldn't even swallow.
No, because you really, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like hard. It's like you have to chew it to death. As a kid, I remember I would chew and chew and chew. I would spit it out, either give it to the dog or I would throw it in some paper towel or something.
Yeah.
I hated meat from the time I was little.
Well, the cool thing is that there are alternatives,
Oh, they are. They're
And there's
delicious
so many.
alternatives. Yes.
and they're all very good for you.
yes.
And
And
it's
you don't have
amazing.
to hurt anything. Watch the movie Earthling. It's on YouTube. And you'll see how disheartening it is what we're doing to animals. There's no need for it. There's so much food.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much food to eat that you don't have to eat nothing that's an
we
animal
just got
product.
mangoes
Oh my
for
God.
50 cents.
Yeah.
And
We loaded up.
we loaded up on
Tomorrow's
mangoes. We can have
banana,
some bananas and
mango,
mangoes,
and celery with
lettuce.
lettuce,
Oh my God.
raisins. And I just make this huge
Yogurt
bowl.
is not the way. Cereal is not the way.
No.
Doing it with raw fruit
Oh my God.
and veggies.
It's a
is
big old bowl full
bomb.
of all sorts of stuff. I mean, it takes us an hour to make and an hour to eat.
That's the problem though, that people don't have an hour. So how do you mix it, make it smaller so that people can eat it in a more timely fashion?
Well, I mean, they could not.
Blend
They could. Yeah, a lot of people could. You could
And
do it in
just
smoothies
drink
and
it.
drink it like that. But it's at least the evening meal should be a big sound.
Well, I think the evening meal is not a problem,
No.
but
In the
morning-
morning, well, they
a
could
morning
just
meal.
divide it up and eat it in different, taking little Tupperwares and start eating your original dose in the morning. Then people get breaks and
Yeah.
you can eat throughout. Just eat, but eat right, eat good, and you'll feel good and look good.
And if you eat a lot,
Oh, you lose
You'll lose weight.
but it's because eating burns calories. And you know how much you chew when you eat all this raw fruit stuff, and it's just incredible. You're not going to see a raw fruitarian or raw vegan fat ever.
nope.
Not at all. Anyway, that's enough. We're done. Guys, thank you so much. Tune in with us on Wednesday. I can't speak anymore. I have a stuffy nose and all that stuff.
You poor guy.
Yeah. Well,
We'll try to mend you all up.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you can't live your truth,
Then it's just not worth living.
you know how much I love this woman.
Mm.
Incredible much. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye. It's over here.
I know, like that.
Oh, I'm going. Oh, wait. Move the
It's over there,
camera.
but it's
It's
over
over
here.
here. All righty. Good night.